Today I'm going to show you how I made these buffalo chicken sausages 4 different ways. My name's Greg. Welcome to the Gourmet Woodsman. To make chicken sausage takes chicken, and today I'm using chicken thigh. So I buy them bone in, skin on. Find the best way to do this is just cut the bone out. So I got a lot of chicken because all this chicken is actually for a few different batches of sausage. I'm gonna just grind it all at once because it is all gonna be on that fine grind. A smaller die I have. For this fermented buffalo chicken sausage, I want to make up some, plenty, more than enough. Some bacterial culture starter. This particular one is called FLC. It's one that I'm using today because I want to get a fast acidification on it. And at a very warm temperature, like over 100 degrees, 95 to 115, it will ferment pretty quickly. I'm going to add to that a 1/4 cup of water, 1/4 teaspoon roughly of starter culture. There are plenty of starter cultures out there, by the way, and you can use any of them. As long as you stay in the temperature and humidity requirements of those particular starters, you'll be fine. So I'm getting this out about 20 to 30 minutes before I'm going to use it to give that bacteria a chance to kind of warm up and wake up. And so of course we need salt because it's a sausage. Sausage needs salt. Smoking them is one of the ways I'll be cooking this, and it will be at low temperatures. I do need to use cure number 1. It needs those nitrites to be safe at the low temperatures. I'm really not adding very much of this. Most of it is table salt. That said, it can be very dangerous if consumed on its own or used improperly, but it's a very small amount that goes in. 1/4% is pretty much the standard. All right, now we got a lot of spices like cayenne, garlic, paprika, some black pepper, some onion powder, and some celery seed. All right, that's our powder spices. I'll put together the next ones. Worcestershire and Frank's hot sauce are both acidic. You've got to be very careful using acidic ingredients because they will break down the meat. I'll start breaking it down quick. That said, chicken has a pretty high pH to start compared to other meats. I'm not putting very much in. And I've done it before and I don't really think it affected the texture. I think the texture was just fine. So I'm doing it. Buffalo chicken. This is the way I've made it before. I'm going to experiment this time. Actually, last time I made this, I smoked it. And this time I'm going to try some smoked and some not smoked. So I've got my spices. And again, this one, it's the same as the one I'm going to ferment, except that one has more chili peppers. It has some of the Calabrian hot peppers. There's this one, I'm adding some Frank's hot sauce and some Worcestershire. Gonna just go ahead and add the binder right now. One thing before my hands get dirty, gotta get the blue cheese out of the freezer. So I'm just gonna add most of this chicken broth right now because I'll add it all because of all that binder. It's just gonna help bring it all together, soak up the water, mix with the meat. That's why the binder needs to, I think it's helpful when the binder is protein based because those proteins, they react, they want to join together, but it also wants to absorb that water. So chicken really comes together super fast. You don't want to overdo it. See, we're sticking really nice and good now. Sticking to my hand, clean off my gloves. Show you closer up. See how it's furry looking almost. It goes from being smooth to having like strands. It has like little strands on the end. It's reaching out, trying to grab things. That's how it sticks. All right, I'm calling that one good. It came together super fast, but I think it's done. Oh, it's not done. Oh shit. Oh well, that one has a % or 2 less cheese. It'll be okay. Gotta have the blue cheese in a buffalo chicken sausage. All right, now I'm gonna call that good. Stick that in the freezer while I mix up the fermented one. Experimental fermented chicken sausage. I'll add our spices. I haven't made any fermented sausages. I've made salamis. I guess the summer sausage is fermented, but it's also partially dried. And it has a very different texture, but I don't know how much of that's from being dried. That or Worcestershire. And the non-fat dry milk powder. And I'm just gonna go in with all the liquid, my chicken stock. And I did this once in my life. I think it's the mistake you only make once. gonna add my starter culture. Because when I didn't do that, the pH didn't go lower and my food just rotted. And that was a big bummer. At any rate, sucking that water in, the chicken stock just fine. So yeah, getting back to the fermented part of this chicken sausage, I'm not afraid of it spoiling, although I will eat it before I share it, but I'm just curious about the texture, because I know when the pH gets lower, when I check it, the texture is very different. But it might be really good. I know it always smells delicious, and I've heard of fermented sausages besides salamis, and I have not heard of any chicken fermented sausages. I have heard of chicken salami, so fermenting chicken's not unheard of. That said, what I saw about salami is it did recommend using pork back fat rather than the skin from a chicken, because the skin can be kind of dirty on a chicken. But I want to make this pork free, so I'm using all chicken. I'm going to take my chances. It's got the salt, so I'll make sure the pH goes down. I think it's going to work out just fine. Looking pretty sticky, starting to lift my bowl up pretty good. It's getting that furry look I like to see. And sticking to my hand pretty good. Ready for the stuffer. So I've got my stuffer loaded. Always try to push out the air as I load the meat. I got my hog casings here. I'm using 30-32 millimeter. And I did get them soaking last night. I want to get them soaking the night before or in the morning. They really only need like 4 hours or so, but the longer you give them, the better. Get softer, they're just easier to work with. Probably should have grabbed the other end. There it is. Always like to find the opening and just get some water in them. I've soaked these inside and out. I already flushed them through the sink, but I like to get some water in it now. Make sure the meat's all the way out so you can see just the tip. And then, like I said, do that so that you can make sure you lubricate your horn, because if you don't lubricate your horn, something's bound to tear, and that's no good. That makes no one happy. So simply enough, just gonna thread all this on there. This is a really long casings came in this package. How long is that thing? I don't even know if this will all fit onto my horn. I don't think I've ever seen a casing come quite this long. Oh my goodness. Where's the end? There's the end. Poke a couple holes in the end here. What I did, I pulled out a little meat from the edge. There's always something left in your hopper. I wrapped it in plastic here. And this is what I'm going to use to test my pH in about 12 to 16 hours. As for the rest of this tray, I'm going to cover it in this plastic wrap and leave it in my oven with the light on. Keeps it pretty warm and should be about right for this. Likes to be 85 to 90% humid. Wants to be, I want to do it at 95 to 115, but probably be closer to 90 or 95 with the light on in the oven. But we'll start fermenting the chicken sausage, see what happens. Wow, it's got a little sticky just from not being used. You know, not very slippery. Gotta keep your horn slippery. This casing is very thin. If your horn doesn't slide, you can tear that thin skin, and that's no good. Tie a knot on the end, poke a couple holes. Non-fermented buffalo chicken sausages. Gonna pinch, twist away. Gonna tie a knot. I'm gonna twist it up just to try to tighten up that last one a little bit. Alright, I have this one with a couple of blowouts. That's kind of a bummer, but oh well, not too bad. And this I'll just stick in the fridge. Won't eat it today because it does have that nitrite. It needs to cure before it's safe to eat. Nitrite needs to turn to nitrous oxide, which will interact with the myoglobin. That's what changes the color of the meat, but that's part of how it cures it. And then eventually leaves the meat in the form of the nitric oxide. Sausages are going on a rack like that in the refrigerator so their casings can dry. I'll have them in there overnight. Bring you back tomorrow. Alright, I lied. Sooner than tomorrow, but I forgot. I want to prick my sausages, so sterilized sausage pricker. And these are the ones that are being fermented. Just going to put some holes all around. Flip it over and do the same on the other side. Now I'll cover this with plastic and into the oven. First I want to prick these too. So you might be saying, Greg, why did you make so many more of the fermented ones if you don't know if it'll work out? And the answer is, if it works out, I'm pretty sure they're going to be better than these ones. It smells so good. See how we're doing. Well, you can see they've darkened quite a bit. You know it's going to have a different texture because it always has a different texture after fermentation. Let's get a peek here at this test piece and see what our pH is at. Right around 5, right where I wanted it. 5.2 is the safety zone. Has to be below 5.2 for fermented. Yeah, we're right around 5. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Next thing I need to figure out is, do I want to smoke these right away? I think I might put them in the refrigerator and that'll just stop the fermenting and start drying them out a little bit. I don't really want to leave them overnight like I usually do with sausages. All right, well, my fermented buffalo chicken sausage has been in the refrigerator for a while. It's definitely cooled down a bit. Ideally, you wouldn't have it so close so it would dry out more, but I think it's going to be fine. Honestly, I'm just going to take a few of these for the not smoked because I think I'm going to like the smoked fermented one the best. I'm going to just take like 5 links and cook those off in the oven. I'll take the other ones off to the smoker. I've got my my not fermented buffalo chicken sausage here and got 8 links, so I'm just going to split it down the middle. I'm going to take half of them and smoke them, and half of them I'm just going to cook in the oven not smoked. Well, I've got my smoker going with a few alder logs. I started it at around 125 degrees Fahrenheit for the first couple of hours. Been slowly raising the temperature. Looks like I need to add some more wood. It always puts out a dirtier smoke when I add more wood, but it'll get cleaner in a bit. Well, these are almost done, but I'm out of wood again. Let's see what they look like. Those are looking pretty good to me. I've added more wood and raised the temperature a bit. Shouldn't be too much longer now. These are done. Buffalo chicken, those are the unfermented. And the ones that are attached to each other are the fermented. Right into the ice water they go for a bath to cool down, stop cooking, tighten up their casing a little. Took about 5 hours to get to an internal of 153, 154, something like that. Just gonna leave them out on this rack for 2 or 3 hours to bloom. They'll just deepen their color and yeah, I think we're ready for tasting pretty soon. All right, buffalo chicken sausage, not fermented. This is with the Frank's hot sauce. Definitely over smoked them a little, but I think they'll be good. Into the ice bath for the smoked version of the fermented buffalo chicken sausage. Honestly, I should have raised the temperature a lot sooner because these just smoked a lot longer than I wanted them to. They were all beautiful color like that, and then I let them stay and they got dark like that. So not my best batch, but I think they'll still be pretty delicious. So 5 or 10 minutes and then I'll hang them up to bloom. All right, let's start with the old recipe, the one I've done before. Okay, we got some cheese melt. Pretty good sausage. The heat doesn't hit you right away, kind of comes on. It's not super hot, but let's try a snap test. That's good. I like the bind. Casing is adhered really well to the meat. It's a good sausage. All right, hold on. I feel like I need a little palate cleanser. All right, let's check this one out. All right, smells good. Looks pretty good. Definitely got plenty of the blue cheese in there. Trying to see a texture difference here. So texture-wise, this is maybe a tiny bit more firm. I think it is a little more firm. This is a little more springy. Let's give it a taste. Well, not surprisingly, that has a lot more tang to it and more heat. Obviously, I added more pepper. And the ferment definitely gives it more tang than the small amount of vinegar in the Frank's hot sauce in the first one. And just so you know, because I know I'll get all kinds of things in the comments about eating fermented chicken and such. I did my research. I've seen and made some fermented sausages that are cooked. To be said, I've never seen fermented chicken sausages cooked. I have seen some fermented chicken salamis. I'm a gambling man. I took my chances. I did try the patty, the little bit of sausage left in my hopper. I cooked it up and waited to see if I had any bad effects. And honestly, it was a delicious sausage and it I felt fine. So let's see about the smoked ones. And I'm really unhappy about how these came out. I had too much going on. I didn't really tend my smoker well enough. And these are over smoked. That said, it has a good bind, it has cheese. The garlic ones were a big hit when I brought them to the party, even though they're over smoked. You know, it's an okay sausage, but I honestly think the fermented one's gonna be tastier. Get a good look, it's plenty juicy. When you cut them thin, the casing's fine. But I think if you went for a big bite, the casing can be a little too chewy. The fermented smoked one is my favorite. All the flavors are just strong. The strong tang from the fermentation, the strong heat because there's more pepper, and honestly the strong smoke. I'd say the not smoked fermented one is my second favorite. And then surprisingly, I think the regular not smoked one is my third favorite because I think the smoke overpowers it. It's a milder flavor. The flavor is a little more subtle. And the smoked version of that, the smoke just overpowers the rest of the flavors. So I think the smoked Frank's version is my least favorite. And the smoked fermented one is my favorite. I'm sad that I didn't do a good job smoking these because I know I can do better. I hesitated about making this video. At the end of the day, I didn't feel like making these 4 sausages again. They're all good sausages. You can ferment chicken. It's actually delicious. That said, I would make sure I was using a pH pen to make sure my pH got low enough, because that is a safety hurdle. Because I want to be able to share my food with people, and I don't want to make anyone sick. And I'm always going to test it first before I share it. And I know, I've got them already. I might get some comments about, you did this, that's gross, WTF. That's fine. Some people don't want to know how the sausage is made. But interesting results to this experiment. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you've watched more than one of my videos and you like my content, please subscribe. Put some love into the next thing you make. Peace. I think where I went wrong smoking these sausages, these buffalo chicken sausages, so I had too much going on that day and I wasn't paying enough attention. I definitely kept them in the lower 125 to 145 range, longer than maybe I should have. So it got a lot of that heavy smoke before, without getting up to temperature. And then the fatal flaw was it reached a point, these were at 145 degrees internal. They needed to get up another 8 to 10 degrees and my fire was dying. And I think I should have just brought them in and finished them in my oven, because by adding more fuel to my fire, it always makes more dirty smoke when I add new fuel, and they were already plenty smoked. And I think that's what changed them from a beautiful mahogany color to kind of a black turd color. But what can I say? Still delicious.